Commander Zethkar of the Valdorian Empire stood before the holographic display, his four eyes narrowing as he studied the tactical readout. The blue-skinned alien's mandibles clicked in frustration as he reviewed the latest casualty reports from the human colony world of Terra Nova. "Impossible," he muttered, his translator rendering the words in perfect standard. "These humans, they fight like no civilized species should." His aide, a smaller Valdorian named Crix, approached cautiously. "Sir, perhaps we should reconsider our ground assault strategy. The humans have proven unconventional." Zethkar's laugh was bitter. When the Valdorian fleet had first arrived at Terra Nova 3 months ago, they expected a swift victory. Humans were a young species, barely 2 centuries into space travel. Their technology was primitive, their military doctrine straightforward. The Valdorian Empire had conquered dozens of worlds with similar ease. But these humans were different. The first sign came during the initial orbital bombardment. While most species would surrender or flee to designated safe zones, the humans simply vanished. Entire cities emptied overnight, their populations melting into the forests, mountains, and underground tunnel systems like water seeping into sand. "Show me the Kessler Valley incident again," Zethkar commanded. The hologram shifted, displaying a mountain pass where a full Valdorian battalion had been ambushed. The alien commander watched in horrified fascination as the tactical reconstruction played out. His troops had been advancing through what appeared to be empty terrain when the humans struck. They emerged from spider holes, from trees, from caves that hadn't existed on any scan. But it wasn't just their concealment that disturbed him. It was their savagery. These humans fought with a primal intensity that defied all military logic. They used improvised explosives made from farming equipment. They turned children's toys into booby traps. They fought with kitchen knives when their rifles ran dry. One human female had taken down 3 Valdorian soldiers with nothing but a sharpened farming tool and what could only be described as feral determination. When finally cornered instead of surrendering, she had detonated an explosive vest made from mining charges. "The psychological profiles don't match any known species," Crix reported, his voice trembling slightly. "Our xenobiologists believe the humans are undergoing some form of rapid evolutionary adaptation." Zethkar's attention turned to the most recent reports from the Darkwood sector. An entire company of his elite shock troops had been wiped out by what appeared to be a single human settlement. The tactical footage showed scenes that would haunt him forever. The humans moved through their own burning town like ghosts, using the smoke and flames as cover. They had turned every building into a fortress, every street into a killing field. Children as young as 10 cycles had been observed carrying ammunition to adult fighters, their eyes holding a coldness that belonged on the faces of veteran warriors. But it was the adults that truly terrified him. These humans had shed every pretense of civilization. They painted their faces with mud and ash, moved with the fluid grace of predators, and struck with the coordinated precision of a pack hunt. They had learned to mimic Valdorian communication frequencies, luring his soldiers into carefully prepared ambushes. "Sir," Crix interrupted his thoughts, "we're receiving reports from the northern continent. The humans there they've begun taking trophies." Zethkar's blood went cold. "What kind of trophies?" "Valdorian equipment, sir. But also—" Crix paused, his translator struggling with the concept. "Biological specimens. Our intelligence suggests they're studying our physiology to develop more effective weapons." The hologram displayed intercepted human communications, translated into Valdorian script. The content was disturbing in its clinical precision. These humans had dissected captured Valdorian technology and biology with scientific thoroughness, then applied their findings with terrifying efficiency. They had learned that Valdorian hearing was more sensitive than human hearing, so they had developed sonic weapons from salvaged entertainment systems. They discovered that Valdorian eyes were vulnerable to certain light frequencies, leading to improvised laser weapons built from mining equipment. Most disturbing of all, they had learned to exploit Valdorian social structures. The humans had somehow deduced that Valdorian military units were organized around family bonds and had begun psychological warfare campaigns specifically designed to break those connections. "They're not fighting like soldiers anymore, sir," Crix observed quietly. "They're fighting like animals, cornered, desperate animals." But Zethkar knew that wasn't quite right. Animals fought for survival, yes, but with instinct and desperation. These humans fought with intelligence and adaptation that bordered on the supernatural. They were evolving their tactics in real time, learning from every engagement, turning their weaknesses into strengths and their environment into a weapon. A new report flashed onto the display. Another Valdorian outpost had gone dark. The last transmission showing humans emerging from the very ground itself, covered in mud and vegetation, indistinguishable from the landscape until the moment they struck. The footage showed something that made Zethkar's blood freeze in his veins. These humans weren't just using guerrilla tactics, they were becoming something else entirely. Their movements had taken on an inhuman quality. Perfectly synchronized, utterly silent, they flowed across the battlefield like a force of nature, striking with surgical precision before vanishing back into the wilderness that had become their domain. "Commander," Crick said softly, "the High Command is demanding a status report. What do we tell them?" Zethkar stared at the tactical display, watching red markers disappear one by one as human forces systematically dismantled his occupation. In 3 months, these primitive humans had transformed from an agricultural colony into something that defied classification. "Tell them," he said finally, his voice heavy with defeat, "that we awakened something that should have remained sleeping. These humans, they haven't just learned guerrilla warfare. They've remembered what they used to be." He paused, watching another outpost marker blink out of existence on the display. "Tell them we're not fighting soldiers anymore. We're fighting the descendants of apex predators who conquered an entire world with nothing but stone tools and determination. And they're remembering how." The hologram flickered and died, leaving the command center in darkness, while somewhere in the forests below, humanity's ancient nature stirred once again.